conscious mind depends on the world outside, and heavy dependence is because of
Desire.
yes, one way to say desire, one way to see the world as real, not as mithya. So our masters explain the mithya, which has a birth and the death, which is constantly changing, which is non-existence, but because of the emotion, because of the attachment and emotional dependence, I see it exists. So lot of things. We may say it is mind, it is desire, it is attachment, it is. So, what is required? What is required is the viveka. So, if the viveka is not there, the vairagya will not come. If the vairagya is not there, that six inner wealth will not come. If the six inner wealth is not there, my mind will not have an intense desire for freedom. Now see, viveka is not there and vairagya is there, then I have to struggle a lot. It is not possible. Simply, it is not possible. Because the knowledge is there in the head about any object or a person with whom I am not attached. Viveka gives me an understanding this attachment is nothing but the emotional dependence. Why it is emotional dependence? It is here today, it will not be here tomorrow. It is constantly changing. So, how we reflect, it is constantly changing. Name and the form is constantly changing. The word of the name. You see, all these comes to only one thing, that is Viveka. And we have to live in that Viveka all the time. Let me give another word to this Viveka. It's a reasonable intelligence. It is reasonable intelligence. We can also give Viveka another word, that I am thinking, living, and acting with a common sense. I don't fall into nonsense. Why are you doing this? This is a nonsense. So, common sense. Why the person is doing something wrong because of lower level of consciousness, it is his or her responsibility, but still I become angry and agitated. It's a common sense. Common sense. So, from that common sense, I recognize that the other person is living at a lower level of consciousness. So, let me see, can I convey the masses? So, what is the way to convey the masses? I have to live with the viveka. I have to use the common sense and reasonable intelligence, reasonable intellect to convey the masses, because I have to think and speak and act in the world outside. So do not think that in one way, do not think that viveka that is extremely difficult to attain. In day to day life, I told you, you have an urge, you go to the restroom, you don't go to the kitchen. You have already separated. You want to eat food, you go to the kitchen, you don't go to the bedroom. This is a common sense. So don't allow your mind to think it is such a big thing and it is very difficult to attain. The mind is causing the problem. So when the mind thinks that, oh, it is such a big issue, I don't have viveka, I committed mistakes. Yeah, people, we have to commit mistakes. That is the way to learn. So we have committed a mistake. At least I'm aware that I have committed a mistake. So I have to apply the common sense and move forward. Reasonable intelligence, common sense. So there comes with that common sense and reasonable intelligence, the word viveka is specifically used in Eastern wisdom. So Master says that common sense should be used with reference to the satya and the mithya. The satya is the truth, real, and mithya is the false. So now that common sense should have a clarity about this satya and the mithya. Mithya, constantly changing. So I am looking at you, knower number one is looking at you. So that knower number one is constantly changing, and what it is looking is also changing. What a great and a simple understanding. Sense organs are constantly changing. That's why I wear the glasses. So it cannot be the real knower. So simple. And what it sees also cannot be the real knower. It cannot be the real object. When the knower number one is not real, it is constantly changing. Whatever it perceives cannot be real. It perceives the body, it perceives the word of the name and the form. So what happens? What happens every day you wake up in the morning and the mind now lives in that viveka. Your body has a little pain and your mind has a viveka. Okay, let me take care of it. Remain detached. Let me give the best care possible, but remain detached. It is not me. So when it is not me, the mind does not fall into emotional dependence. It will not start thinking of the no, when I will die, what will happen? What happens to everyone? That will happen to you also. So I am bringing a lot of smaller things. Now, if we ask the existence, does it make any effect if I die? If the body dies? No. Existence does not have any. Whether we are, but I have an emotional dependence, I lose viveka, then what will happen to my relations? What will happen to the money that I have earned? What will. And then the mind is constantly wandering, it is constantly thinking, and that thinking keeps on our life with the attachment that you have a one attachment word or attachment feeling in the mind. So one attachment gives rise to millions of attachments. Millions of attachments. They come together, they overpower your mind, and we start living in mithya, and then we suffer. Otherwise, there is no need to control the mind. So if you have viveka, vairagya comes as a result. So why to worry about it? Why to start thinking unnecessarily? So this goes against the method explained by Patanjali. Patanjali says, control, here are the 5 different states of the mind. Here are the 5 different states of the mind, and out of the 5, you have to reduce the first 3 states of the mind, so that you need to do something. Okay? Now, what to do something? Patanjali in the first chapter gives 11 methods: mantra, chanting, pranayama, breathing, and lot of things to do. What we are doing, we are understanding that the first 3 states means Kshept, Mood, and Vikshept states are because of lack of common sense. This is another process. So master gives hundreds of methods. So other master says that, do you understand that this obsessed mind, crazy mind, wandering mind is due to the attachment. Attachment is due to the lack of common sense, lack of reasonable intellect. So why don't you use the reasonable intellect? You are with your daughter, yes, okay. Now daughter is moving in another direction. Use your common sense. This is what happened in my life. When I did like this, I suffered. And then I realized. Now you see that you are talking of your example, but using the common sense. And this is what happened to me. And then I realized it took me 10 years to reach to that state. Now you have to learn from your own experiences. Choice is yours. You want to go to hell? Thank you. You want to go to heaven? Thank you. So you attacked her emotional dependence through the knowledge. Or you can attack the emotional dependence through your ego. The moment ego comes, it is a mithya. Conscious mind has taken another route. There is a problem. The problem will aggravate. Problem will continue to remain. Okay, I love you, Dad, because you pay me the money, but paying the money does not mean that you can take over me. Lastly. So you showed your ego, so she will also show her ego. I told you this story in my life. So in Viveka, first thing we say that what is non-existence can I see here and now? I see the body. Can I see the non-existence of the body? Yes, that death of the body. So this death of the body may come after 10, 15 years, but I see it now. So I have an emotional freedom. No, don't talk about the death. Don't, don't talk about the death. So the society thinks in this way. Okay, don't talk to them, but I have to talk. I have to see the reality. So that is one thing, that changing. Now see, another part of the mithya is also very important to understand. Mind, lack of common sense, lack of reasonable intelligence. Today I will buy a car, I will be happy. You see that excitement in the mind. I'm going to buy a new car. I'm going to marry. Uh, Apply that into all the things. I'm going to, oh, this shirt is very good. Ah, you see, lack of common. So what happened? That I will be happy if I do this activity, if I possess this, if I own this, if I earn this much. So the emotional dependence on projected happiness outside is non existent. There we lack common sense. People invite me for a function. Are you excited? I said, why should I be excited? I'm calm. No, no, you have to speak to these executives. I said, then what? Why should I be excited? All the executives are human beings. They are looking for peace and happiness. I have peace and happiness. I will convey the masses of peace and happiness. No, no, he is a millionaire. Let him be millionaire. He has the millions in his account. Why should I be excited? So this is the second way to understand. The first is constantly changing, birth and the death. And the second is what is non-existent. I have to be aware of that. The mind pressures in our daily life, in our personal, professional, and social life, projecting happiness which is non existent. So, how the masters have explained it? Master says that, have you seen the horns on the dog head? Horn on the dog. Horn is non existent, absent, totally absent, absolutely absent. So I see absolutely existence, no, absolutely non-existence as existent. My daughter will come, my wife will come, they will hug me and they will say, I love you, come on. They don't know what the love is, you know. They don't know. We have those feelings. We have those feelings. No, I'm maintaining them, so at least, you know, at least. There is no at least. They don't know what the love is. They are not following the path of Eastern wisdom. So there is no at least. Enjoy your life. Non existent. Don't ask the mind to think over what is non existent. That is why we have a wandering mind. That is why we have an obsessed mind. Think. We have. That is why the mind is wandering. So I use the common sense. I use my reasonable intellect. Come on, you know, she does not know what is peace and happiness. And I'm demanding peace and happiness which is non existent. Now you see what happens. What are now, how many thoughts you have about your daughter, and you have no thoughts. You use your common intelligence, you use your common sense. Honey, how are you? Come on, sit down. What happens? Nitya karma. Nitya karma. Viveka is very important. Viveka is, so the first thing is that is constantly changing. I'm just aware it is constantly changing. Second is that it is There is no emotional clinging and attachment because I don't see existence in the non existence reality. I don't see that. So when I don't see that, I live in that state of viveka. And that state of the viveka results into emotional freedom. That emotional freedom is nothing but vairagya. So if the vairagya is supported by the viveka, it will work. If the vairagya is not supported by viveka, it will thrash you. It will cause lot of problems. It will create unfavorable circumstances. When I told you this guy who divorced, paying almost $21,000 or $22,000 per month as alimony, and the divorced wife has left this country. She is living in another country. So now he cannot see his daughters if I have some emotional attachment. I sent an email to him and I said, "How are you doing, my friend?" Let us see, because he has learned for 2.5 years very seriously. So if he can invoke and recollect all those principles, life will become better. He will try to patch up with the ex-wife. If he drops his ego does not exist, it is non-existent. Why shouldn't I do it? Why? To convert the unfavorable into favorable circumstances. It's all a part of the ego is divided. So I said, okay, let me send an email. So, this is what happens in our life, We know what is happening, we know, and still they do it. We try to guide people one after the other in one session and after the other session, but when you are overpowered by the lack of common sense, you are overpowered by the emotional dependence, then the ego takes over. That ego lives in the knower number 2, and knower number 1 supports it. Knower number 3 is hidden in the background. And then the knower number 2, that ego says, "Where is the real self? I have tried, my honey, to change her ways. No, why don't you change your ways?" Simple question. Why didn't you change? She is not learning the path of Eastern wisdom. You are learning. You should change. You should. It is your responsibility. Don't try to change the world outside. One more point here. When I want to change the world outside of people, of profession, of business, of relationship, my intellect lose the common sense. My intellect has already decided a projected happiness outside in the world if I change it. Not many people realize. Not many people. I would also say not many seekers realize this. We have become a seeker, but we have to continue to grow and evolve and become the highest level of a seeker. The highest level of a seeker works, thinks, speaks, and acts with that highest state of the wisdom. Otherwise, Krishna says Yog Bhrast. Bhrast means uh, Bhrast means in English that you have the mind has been polluted. Mind has been so those people who have followed the path and now they fall back, they can still rise because they already know, they had an understanding, they have lived their life. He lived that life for 2.5 years with me. Every week he said, I stopped doing anything. It's all about the nitya karma in the profession, and my income has increased. I said, increase my salary also. So then he started laughing. I said, no, I'm just joking. Why should you are increasing your salary, so income, so why should you increase mine? So that is very important. The part of, we can say it's a cognition. It's a cognitive ability. All those principles, join them together. It's a cognitive ability plus the principles of Eastern wisdom of knower number 1, 2, and 3. So knower number 1, 2, 3, all the three are missing in modern science, in modern cycles. Otherwise, we say, where we say there is a, yeah, CBT. Your honey might be studying CBT, cognitive behavior therapy. So in which they talk and they talk, they make you understand. So you cognize, means you recognize this movement of the mind is not good. So the greater and the deeper understanding takes you back to the common understanding, common sense, and you say that now it is done. I am calm. But behind that, there is no principle of knower number 1, 2, and 3. That makes the difference. Otherwise, the mind will go back. Knower number 2 will go back to the same stuff. It already has an impression. And it already has experienced the projected happiness. It has already experienced the projected happiness. So it can go back again. So there is no sound principle that who you are. You are not number 1, that is sense organ. You are not number 2, mind. You are the knower number 3, that is pure consciousness, real self, never changing, not a part, property, and product of anything. So it is unchanged. Let us see. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Who heard it? Mind. What is mind? Reflected consciousness. What is this? Conscious mind. Conscious mind has created a sense of I-ness. So when I said close your eyes, you closed your eyes. It is all the conscious mind is doing. Don't rely on that, but don't take it as real. Adjust and align your body. Who is listening? Conscious mind. So you are aware, it is conscious mind, it is not I. It is not I, my friend. Or you take it, it is I, then it is knower number 2. It is I number 2, which is the mind. So I number 1 also participated because you heard me from the ears. Ears, all the sense organs are together. I number 1. I means me. I am. Look at it. Can I see that? The beauty is that when you are aware of eye number one, that is sense organ, eye number two, that is mind, there is a cognitive ability. Consciousness is independent of eye number one and the two. That is what the witness consciousness is. So the thoughts are coming and going. I need not to say you are carefree because you have separated in your mind, in the field of awareness. So you are already comfortable, you are already carefree. Oh, I am already carefree. Now look at the head and the neck. So if there is an emotional dependence, then the same knower number two or I number two or the conscious mind is aware of the head and the neck. But at the same time, it has an element of emotion. Oh, this is my body. I feel good or I feel bad. No, just be aware. And in that field of awareness, you introduce the viveka, it's a part of the body. Anything that is the part, product, and property cannot be me. So the viveka says, I'm looking at the head and the neck. I experience sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Pay attention. Sensation, relaxation, and stillness is an experience in the mind. I claim this as my experience, okay, but I know. And the sense organ, sense of touch perceived, feels a sensation. Relaxation by the mind. What is the third word? I said stillness. What never changes will always remain still. What is not the part, product, and property will has to be the knower number three. So I use the word stillness to point out to the knower number three. Contemplate and reflect. It is the stillness of the body, or is it the stillness in the body? Stillness of the body? Not possible. Body is, every cell is constantly changing, replenishing. Blood is moving, breath is moving. So body cannot be made still. It may appear the outer stillness is there, but the body is constantly changing. What is constantly changing cannot be me. Do I experience a sense of stillness in the body? Stillness. Yes, it is one consciousness that is not changing. You recognize, I told you, cognitive ability. Our meditation journey nowadays focus more on not doing anything but recognizing, not controlling, Why? We are living in a common sense, means viveka, that will result into vairagya. So we repeat it to go to understand. The mind goes to the right arm, conscious mind, sense of touch sensation. I see them separately, no other issue at all. We're not doing anything. Sensation in the right arm pertains to the knower number 1. Experience of relaxation is taking place in the mind, the knower number 2. I am 2. What is after that? Stay there. So I connected it to the state of the stillness. Not the stillness of the body, but the stillness in the body. When it is the stillness in the body, it is outside, it is inside also, it is everywhere. What is everywhere is pure consciousness. That is what I am. So don't shy contemplating and reflecting during the journey. Who prevents you not to contemplate and reflect? No, I have to control all the thoughts. I want an emptiness. No, emptiness is already there. You need not to create it. Left arm, left arm, just recognize sensation. Knower number 1, experience of relaxation. Knower number 2. And after that, what remains? Or simply recognize the stillness in the body, stillness outside. When you recognize the stillness in the body, outside, everywhere, that is what Buddha says, emptiness, nothingness. The curtain created by the knower number 1 and 2 are absent. The middle portion of the body, we are repeating in order to ask the mind to have this common sense awareness. Middle portion of the body, middle portion of the body, sensation, knower number 1, sense organs, knower number 2 is the mind, relaxation, and the stillness in the body. So I am associating at this moment stillness. The mind recognizes that very recognition is the witness consciousness. It's a common sense. But those who are seekers, for them it is a common sense. Those who are non-seekers, they will not understand. Or even if they understand, the mind will take over them. The right leg, I associated. Right leg, I associated with the sensation, experience, awareness of the sensation, obviously. It is processed by the mind, but fact is, sensation of touch. Then that sensation may be tingling, maybe numbness, maybe heaviness, maybe lightness. They are good. But we should not get carried away. People get carried away and they have beautiful, so called beautiful experiences in the mind, for example, of the kundalini, and then they fall back. All experiences takes place in the mind. Good, bad, high, low. Okay. So you see that we need not to do any practice. We need not to create more and more of beautiful experiences. They will come and go. And the stillness. So it's a wrong phrase to say, but the wrong serves the purpose to the mind. When I say stillness in the body, it is everywhere. You recognize the stillness in the body, it is also outside. And that is what is witness consciousness. Left leg, sensation of touch supported by the mind gives me the sensation, gives me that me is the knower number two, the mind. Then we come to relaxation because relaxation creates a favorable condition to recognize, to be little more aware. That lack of awareness drops. And then we have stillness. Left leg, sensation, relaxation, stillness. Just check it as your mind shifts when I say sensation on the skin, relaxation, so called inside, knower number two, and the stillness, knower number three. The entire body, from the top to the toes. So here, the contemplation and reflection. First, we will go with sensation, relaxation, stillness. So here you reflect the body was non existent before the birth, after the birth, non existent. In between, it is existent. So, what is non existence in the beginning, exist in the middle, non existent in the end, cannot be me. Conclusion: I am not the body. Emotional dependence with the body comes. Reflection continues. The body is constantly changing. If I am the body, there would not have been any health in the sickness. Body continues to grow, decay, creates challenges. I cannot be the body. It is an awareness in the mind. Doesn't mean I'm not the car, but I use the car. So this is a sort of confusion must go. The confusion will go only by the knowledge, by viveka. The confusion cannot go by practice. Yes, it can go by practice, 10 years of the practice, and still not sure that this knowledge will dawn. But we directly start with the knowledge. Body is tired, I'm not emotionally attached. The body remains, okay, let me rest. So we need to remove the confusion between the three I. Let the first I, means that all the sense organs, do their work, but they should not enter into the area where they have no right. I am the sense organ, no right. Let all the five sense organs continue to work. See, feel, touch, smell, taste. That is okay. And the conscious mind is the seer, knower number two. It is reflected consciousness. It has an intellect. Intellect can give me the knowledge. There we can awaken to Viveka. Why we awaken to Viveka? So that we can find the truth. So our master says that we cannot separate the conscious mind from the consciousness. You see the mind and the consciousness. Mind is reflected consciousness. It is the conscious mind. We don't use the common sense to separate the conscious mind from the consciousness. So the confusion. This is one way to look at it. Behind the knower number 1, we have knower number 2 and 3. That should be maintained. That awareness should be maintained all the time. Means what? We are living in a common sense. And behind the knower number 2, that is the mind, we have the knower number 3. That is the witness consciousness. Behind the witness consciousness or the knower number 3, there is no other knower. That is the real knower. You have a thought, images in the mind. So we recognize it is the knower number 2 in support from the knower number 1. So we have a content. It may be a thought, it may be an image, it may be a feeling, it may be a memory. Then what? A recognition. And when you see the knower number 1 are senses and corresponding objects is the world outside. But when I'm not the knower number 1, this word is left out. Knower number two is the mind. Corresponding objects are thought, feeling, images, memories in the mind. Knower number one is physical. Knower number two is subtle or mental. What we call the subtle body. We have to go deeper into the subtle body. Knower number one becomes the known, yes. Knower number two becomes the known, yes. Knower number three becomes the known, no, it cannot become the object of mind. Yes, we can reflect that knower number three is the real knower, witness consciousness. We have to go behind that real knower. How to go, that we will take up later. But at present, we say it is the witness consciousness, it is pure consciousness. It has no beginning and end. It is all pervading. It is associated with the body, sense organ, and the mind, but it is separate and different, independent. One is permanent and one is constantly changing. They cannot merge together. They merge together, ignorance. I see them separate, still they are associated, closely associated. No expansion or no contraction. It is formless, nameless, witness, knower. Timeless and spaceless. I do not know that witness consciousness by the sense organ. I do not know it by the mind. I know it by itself. It is always experienced. What is always experienced? That I am, that I exist. I know you, I don't know you, I still exist. I like this, I dislike this, I still exist. I'm learning and not learning, I still exist. So that I am is always there. But we take that I am as a knower number two and the one. Witness consciousness does not need any instrument to shine. It does not need, so it does not perform any action. That is why we say it is self existent. No, how come I'm listening? Oh, so that consciousness shines, falls on the mind, and it reflects the consciousness, which is known as the conscious mind. Oh, so I'm understanding through the conscious mind, yes. I am doing all the sadhana by the conscious mind. Yes. Mind is like a mirror. You do not throw your image in front of a mirror. You just stand before the mirror and image is seen. Oh, that is the nature how the consciousness falls on the mirror. Mind. It reflects. So it is a reflected consciousness. And that reflected consciousness recognizes the body, the mind, the intellect, and the ego, and the world outside of name and the form. That is known as the Sakshi, or the witness, or in Buddhism, Vipassana. Vipassana means to see. That I is standing at seer number 3 in the presence. Mind is doing its activities, let it be. Sense organs are doing its actions, let it be. So, even in the presence of the thoughts and feeling and sensations, you see that emptiness, which is always present. Consciousness is empty, spaceless, timeless. It's a wrong notion to force the mind to be empty. We have done the so called practice. So, when you repeat and understand, then you start living the life from moment to moment. You're personal, you're professional, you're social, you're alone, you're with people. You live with that witness consciousness. And you will see this mind. You will find that mind remains empty. It has not to think a lot. When that I stands on the sense organ as the first I am, it has to think a lot. It has to perceive a lot, get attached. So when it stands in the conscious mind as the seer number 2, then means then our thoughts, feeling, images, past memories, events, good, bad, high, low, everything enters. That I, through cognition, through common sense, that I stands at the pure consciousness. You are a witness consciousness. through the knowledge. We are in the state of mindfulness. It's not a practice. We live, we think, we speak, and act out of that.